2, 3. We're live. Yeah. Yeah. I I'm not sure. Like Tyler's, having problems with his machine. He's like, I need to upgrade the ball screws, and yeah, you could do that, but I don't know if it's a complete redesign of the machine, and then your machine's out of commission. Does it make more sense to?
Yeah, it's funny how you need a CNC to repair or upgrade it.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck. It's like, what do you?
Yeah.
Where do you go? Because a ball screw upgrade to an
Wait,
X
ball
carve.
screw or Acme lead screw?
Well, he said ball screw because I know where he wants to take the machine, and I think he's looking for more precision than he's going to get out of it. He really needs to buy an old Bridgeport. Is really what he needs to do, and then CNC that.
Is it a 500 by 500?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay, I mean that's not too bad. I mean,
no, it's not. And I think there's things he could do to that. I think if he went to the 15 millimeter belts, the GT3 belts, that would go a long way. I've got the end plates coming for him too, so I think that'll help. The end plates, the Y-axis and the X-axis end plates, he'll have new ones. So I think it'll be a lot better for him. It's never going to be ball screw unless he decides to go that route. But then that's a lot of work, a lot of extra work. I don't know. Eric's is looking pretty cool, but he's got resources through work that we don't have. So I guess I haven't seen how his is doing.
He hasn't really talked about it, actually.
Yeah, and do you remember once he let slip that work was working? The work was coming out with another one that might be similar to his. That was months ago, but he had said something about that. So I'm kind of wondering if, well, it would stand to reason. I mean, you can't just, okay, the X carve is out, that's it. No, they got to keep coming up with new ones, I would think, but.
Mr. Tyler.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I made it. Good. Let's hope these batteries will last. I found the least dead batteries for this headset that I could.
Yeah. Some days, Eves, I'm a little slow, but yeah. It's all right. So yeah, we were just talking about your situation a little bit, Tyler, with you wanting to upgrade. You're like, there's things you can do. Eves is, you're gonna get the end plates, the bigger end plates. Those will be coming as soon as they get done. There's the GT3 15 millimeter belt that Eve's upgraded to, or will be, and that would be a worthwhile upgrade too. A lot less, stress on the belts because you got more surface area to, spread that out against. So
plus they're almost, 3 times as thick as the GT2s.
Yeah. So there's interim things that you could do. I guess the way to look at it is you make these smaller upgrades like this, and then, maybe use it. We can work with you on adjusting feeds and speeds and try to figure something out. Well, of course, you got access to really cool shit at work, but work with your feeds and speeds. But I think you make some simple upgrades to it, and it's going to get a lot better, I think.
Yeah. Oh, good. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think a little bit bigger motors would be better. I don't like how the motors are just directly driven, or the belt's directly driven by the motors.
Well, that's very common. I wouldn't let that stump you. I mean, you put it this way, Eves, you should look at the motors that Eves is using. They're cheap, and almost 500 ounces or whatever.
Wait, the ones that's on the little CNC or currently on Long Oko now?
The ones currently on Long Oko, the big ones.
Those are a 400 ounce inch, and they were $20 each-ish on Amazon. 4.2 amps per phase.
Yeah, you drive those with the right power supply, and your stepper motors will not be dropping steps.
Yeah.
They will not be.
You're using, yeah, the X cars are 24 volts, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the other thing. You could drive them, at 48 volts too, and you drive the current motors you have at 48 volts, and that'll help a lot.
Oh, his headset died.
Oh.
Just when we were getting some important stuff. What is the max? The G Shield is 2.2 amps per phase?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, if you got a bunch of KL drivers, just the cheap Chinese black box drivers, you can get them easily 4 amps per phase, or 4 amps total, for like $20 to $25. But he'll need, I would say, 4, and then tell Linux CNC to software reverse Y2 versus tag teaming 2. And that's the other thing too, right? He's tag teaming 2 drivers on one. Sorry, 2 steppers on one driver.
I could send them the ones I have, but they say that they're only good for up to 4 amps per phase. So, I think they're way overbuilt. The ones I have.
I meant to ask that. What are they again?
The Intelligent Motion IM 483s. Intelligent Motions. They're a discontinued product, but they're.
But where do you get those?
Oh, eBay.
Oh, I thought you got them at your surplus place.
Well, I did get the last set of 4 that I got there, and I'm using those. But I have the old set. They're slightly different, but they're the same specs exactly. They just have a different They have a IDC cable sort of kind of input on them versus the ones that I got from the surplus place are screw terminal. So it's a slightly different product number, but the same specs exactly. So I could send him 3 of those. Well, except he would need 4, really.
Well, I mean, it depends. If the single driver can, because remember, the G Shield's 2.2 amps, and you're putting 2 steppers on that.
Yeah, and these are, so you could certainly do better than that with these.
Yeah, so these are 4 amps peak, and you run them at 48 volts, then tag teaming them will be okay.
Yeah. And you can probably, at 48 volts, you can probably run them at less current.
Yeah, true.
I would suspect. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I got a bunch of shit that's going to go out on Monday, so maybe I'll send them some of those. I think I should probably wait to send. Yeah, I wished I knew how soon that the machinist was going to get that stuff done. I'm going to send you this motherboard, but I was like, I don't know. It seems like, because when I took it there, they're like, well, how soon do you want this? I'm like, well, when do you come back? And he's like, a month. And I'm like, that's a little long. I mean, good for you, but
right? He was working on it.
The other guy is, yeah. So, well, when I said that's a little long, he's like, well, we'll do it. The other 2 guys said that they do it, and the one guy that
there's no ridiculous rush on it. I mean, I could obviously use the machine as it sits.
Yeah.
But it's not that big of a deal.
No, I'm anxious to get my plates too. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm anxious.
Yeah, one other thing, I went ahead. I told you about this. Well, I don't know if the other guys know about this, but I did get the Leadshine MX 4660. It's the 4 axes. Now the thing that was interesting when you look at the data sheet, it says DSP 32-bit. And it can handle up to 400 kilohertz.
A 4660s?
Yeah, 4660, the Leadshines. The 4 axes ordeal. What's interesting about the 4660s is you could tag team 2 parallel ports into it. So you could use one to do step direction, and then you have a ton of I/O. So it has a traditional DB25 header, and then it has an IDC26 right on the top or the side or whatever. And the interesting thing is on the Mesa 6i25, it has the same format. It has a DB25 on the back, and then it has an IDC26 internally. So in theory, that card is like a perfect match for the MX 4660. So, and that's great because that means I could do probing, and if I do the automatic tool changer, and I have tons of I/O to do other crazy things. So I think that's the path I'm going to go down shortly. It's ordered, just waiting for it to get here. And then if it works out with a little machine, then I'll just replicate that for Long Oko, and then Go
So
ahead.
wait, you bought one in addition to the one that you got for your friend's build that
Yeah.
you're doing?
Yeah.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Well,
Did
I mean, I
you do the
have.
Mesa card too?
Say what?
You do the Mesa card too?
Yeah, the 61 6i. I keep saying 6125. It's 6i25.
Yeah, that card plus that lead charm board that's spectacular. That'll be an awesome combo.
Well, I mean, they almost seem like they're meant for each other. They have the same interfaces between the
Yeah.
two.
I'm
So
kind of surprised that Lead Shine doesn't like clone the Mesa somehow and just say, here's our own.
yeah.
Wouldn't
Well,
be hard.
interesting enough, though, in the machine kit world, apparently somebody's gotten the Cyclone 4. There's an FPGA with a built-in, I don't want to say built-in Raspberry Pi. It's really not, but it has an SoC on board, an ARM 9, or I think it's an ARM 9. So, for lack of a better term, I'm probably insulting somebody somewhere, but it's basically a Raspberry Pi with a built-on FPGA. And they got Machine Kit to actually work with the FPGA and basically flash it with the 5x25 firmware. So I've been watching it on GitHub, and they're making some serious-ass progress on it. Now, too little, too late in my case, because I've almost pretty much given up on the BeagleBone Black and Machine Kit, because I try to give it so many scenarios to work, but then I run into these really hardcore technical issues that either it's something that a developer needs to do or something, because like PWM does not work on Machine Kit, which is kind of weird because
people seem to be using it though.
if you have a VFD, you could use the 0 to 10. You could do the digital pot, right? But the problem is that the Super PID is expecting 0 to 5. I guess I could use that and then put a resistor to drop it down to 5 volts, but I was kind of hoping it was going to be a plug and play, which that was absolutely wrong. So I don't know. I mean, the dream was to get the BeagleBone Black, a nice 7-inch touchscreen, the breakout board with the DB25, and some sort of 4-axis external driver, which that would be like the perfect setup because all of that would fit in a small, tiny enclosure. And then boom, you have your instant motion controller that rivals a Mesa, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the software is just not there yet.
Yeah, that's. I played with it for much like you, for many nights straight. Just
Yeah, I mean, I can get it to jog. I can hook steppers to it, and I can make it do stuff. But it's like the other technical stuff, like getting the touchscreen to work was a complete nightmare because the I/O pins that the touchscreen requires and the I/O pins that the breakout board needs, even though they don't like conflict, but the problem is the way it does the universal cape manager, right? Because you have to tell it to load it, and then it goes, oh well, I can't load it because this pin's in use, and it's like it's not in use. What's telling you that it's in use?
well, part of the problem there is that with at least from what I can tell and what I've come across was, the boards with the BeagleBone Black, and now they've started doing this with the Raspberry Pi. You're supposed to have an EEPROM on there that's basically your board address, right? So it says this is what I need. But it seems like on the BeagleBone Black, some do, some don't. So
Well,
they say
no. Okay, so there is an EEPROM on the capes.
on the capes, but not on that unless you got that extra. There's a place on our little stepper driver board for an EEPROM, but it's not installed by
Yeah, I know, but all it does is identify the board to.
And it's required pins, right?
No, it doesn't specify pins.
I thought that's what the whole purpose of it was, so that the Pi knew or the BeagleBone Black knew what pins were required by that device.
That works on the Pi, but it doesn't. Okay, so this is what happens, right?
Oh, okay.
There's a DTS. There's a file that has to go into the kernel folder that has the identifier of said thing. So if I have Eve's wonderful cape, right? So my EEPROM reports that to BeagleBone Black, and when the kernel detects that on boot, then it looks for the following DTS that matches that name and loads it. The problem is that for the Xylotech or whatever that board is, there is a DTS that's already compiled into the kernel that uses or claims all of the pins. So no matter what I did to like override that by on boot when it loads it, unload it, and then try to load it, it just ignores the secondary custom DTS.
Hmm.
Short from recompiling the kernel or hacking it by adding an EEPROM to it and changing the name in the EEPROM and then make the matching DTS the wrong name that matches what's in the EEPROM. You know, it's not plug and play at that point. It would work for me, but then I couldn't replicate it to somebody. You know, if you wanted to use it, it wouldn't work, right?
It seems so half-baked right now, and it probably is, literally.
It is. It is. It's great. I mean, okay, what I mean by it's great is it's nice that such an option exists, but unfortunately, it's not.
Not yet.
Yeah. I mean, people are getting 3D printers to work with it. But and the CNC stuff, it works. But if you're doing like basic stuff and you don't want to do PWM or have special inputs and outputs for specific things, it's a pain in the ass because let's, for example, the PWM situation, you have to tell the BeagleBone Black that this specific pin has to be configured as a PWM. But guess what? The DTS has whatever it's configured for, right? So if it's considered an input or an output, no matter what I do after the fact, it ignores, okay, I need this pin to be a PWM. What's interesting in Linux CNC, you can go into the HAL file and specify it, but it ignores it. Or it throws a kernel panic.
Yeah.
Take your pick. So, I don't know. I had high hopes for it, but I'm just going to switch over to a standard...
I don't think there's a lot of difference. I think, actually, the new Pi 2, the Pi 2B is... That thing is fast.
Yeah, but it's down. Although you can get Linux CNC, or I'm sorry, Machine Kit for it, but the thing is step pulse generation.
Yeah, no PRU.
So, and I've seen people make breakout boards with a PIC 32 to do it, but I don't see. I mean, I could replicate it. The guy has Eagle files there. I could just make it and see if it works, but I kind of want it to just work. I'm getting to the point now where I'm tired of like tinkering per se, and I want to actually get it to work.
Yeah, I get. Yep.
So,
That's why I dangled that board in front of your face.
Yeah, thanks. But, I don't know. Yeah. What's funny is that I'm going full circle now. If you send me that ITX board, that'd be great. Otherwise, that's what I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna find the smallest ITX board that has either PCI or PCI Express. Okay, and then I'll slap that Mesa in there and call that shit a day. Done. And then I'll be stepping and pulsing all over the place.
Yep, I think that'll be good.
But yeah, I mean, why is it so hard? I mean, I guess that's why people like Mach 3, because it's literally a Windows thing. You just dump it in and.
Well, I mean, this is all pretty new. I mean, how long is? I mean, you think about the home CNC hobbyist market, and what are we, 5 years into it, maybe?
Well, no, I mean, Mach 3 is used for other industrial machines.
It is, but I think, would we have Machine Kit if it wasn't for the whole 3D printer industry?
Oh, no, probably not.
Probably not. I mean, so where does it go from here? I don't know. I don't know. I think the Form 2 style stuff is probably going to see some advances, and that'll probably grow, but, each has their own specific applications, which is kind of cool. So.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. I mean, I love to tinker. I love to mod stuff, but I'm getting to the point now where I want to get back to my regularly scheduled program and just start using stuff. I mean, I love Linux CNC. I'm glad you got me to finally switch. I mean, that it's by far superior to anything I've used in the past. I mean, the closest thing would have been TinyG, but then I was having problems with Chili Pepper. But yeah, I mean, Linux CNC by far, hands down, has been the best motion controller I've used. And it's not like it's been a bunch of different machines. It's been the same CNC that's been Gerbil, Marlin, which is hilarious because Marlin's a 3D printer software. TinyG, Gerbil of all flavors. Also on a Gerbil on an 18 mega, so I can add another axis, which that didn't work out very well. TinyG2, which worked on Arduino Duo.
You really made the rounds.
But I was okay. So the whole thing about Linux CNC, and this is a problem because when I first looked at the website and you go to the wiki, it's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. It deters you right there in the instructions. It's like, But
They do, and I'm not sure why. Well, part of it is it's not you know it's not for the meek. It really isn't. I mean, if you go into it blind, it can be overwhelming pretty
yeah.
quickly and
Now let me
discouraging.
add clarification. It doesn't literally say don't install me. I'm just saying
Yeah, correct. I know.
install steps are not, because the thing is the real-time OS. That's the part that is very difficult, especially if you have an existing machine with Ubuntu or Debian or whatever, and you're trying to convert over to that. It's a little daunting. The images, the live ISOs that they offer, are the best way to go.
Oh yeah.
Just avoid step config like the devil, and you're
Or
golden.
well, don't avoid it. Just understand how it works. I mean, because it serves a purpose. Unfortunately,
It's destructive.
it's poorly thought out. I think I think it was a rushed piece of not rushed, but I think maybe
Man,
it was a rushed piece of software that came out for a specific reason, and it has never been really rethought as far as how this should work.
I mean, okay, so my favorite thing about step config, let's go with pros before I start crapping on it, is that it does the thing where you basically tell it, yes, I want to test the x-axis, and it tells you, okay, what's the maximum distance am I allowed to move? I'll just say 200 millimeters, and then it'll jog left and right as I real-time change the step and the pulse.
Yep. Yeah.
And I could tune that, and that's awesome. And then
That
it
is
tells
cool.
you, hey, I moved 50 millimeters. Did I actually move 50 millimeters? And you tell it no, and you tell it the offset, and it recalculates. The problem, now this is the con part, it's destructive. So if you calibrated it once, and you go into Linux CNC and you want to go back into step config, it completely wipes everything, and it starts over.
Yeah,
So,
if you've made any custom modifications to that INI file, you're
yes.
screwed.
So in my case, it was probes and the fact that I have min-max end stops.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, let me home it. Yep, crash into the gantry.
Can't tell you how many times I've done that. Yep.
So it's like,
And I was using at the time I had temporarily mounted my end stops using hot glue, right? So
wow.
so it was like, well, I guess I have to restick those again.
Yeah, and if anything, throw a warning. Hey, we noticed that and it gives you an option to manipulate an existing config, and it just willy-nilly just goes right in it.
Yeah. That in and of itself is the worst, and I'm surprised that hasn't been addressed. It's like they're waiting for Machine Kit to take over or something. I don't know. Maybe.
No, have you been in the Linux CNC forums?
Not in a long time.
I mean, there's a guy called Arkai. He seems to be very Machine Kit savvy, but it seems like the rest of them think, whatever, it's Linux CNC, even though technically they're the same, but they're not. I don't know. I mean,
they're just a fork. Machine Kit is a fork, and it's got its own path.
Everything.
And,
Although I do like the web front end. What is it called? There is a
I haven't played with it, but there is a web front end.
If you just go to the IP address of the machine, I think at port 8000 or something like that. Yeah, there's a little web. I mean, it's a super basic, but there's a little web front end for it, which is pretty cool. But there's other add-ons and plugins that you can put in to do that. For example, there's a guy who made this, a Russian guy called something. I don't remember his name.
Have you noticed that there's so much good stuff for Linux CNC, but it's always on that Russian Linux CNC site.
Well, it's called Linux CNC Features.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the one guy. Yeah.
He adds touch probes.
Yeah.
He adds parametric CAD. So if you want to make a mount and don't want to jump into your CAD program, you can literally design the entire mount parametrically within Linux CNC.
Yep.
I mean,
it's pretty cool.
Center finding. Okay, it has a hole. You have a probe. It actually taps 4 sides of the hole and then goes dead center. Right. There's all types of neat add-ons for Linux CNC. I mean, I'm using Linux CNC Features mostly for the probe function. So if I want to find the center of a board, I tell it, okay, go here, go here, go here, and then it figures out this distance and boop, goes dead center. Or if I need to find the center of a slot, I go one end, and bloop, right in the middle of the slot. That's how I do engraving on plates.
You'll have to look at that, Tyler. You'd like that. It's pretty cool.
It's super easy to install. It's 2 lines in the INI file.
Yep.
It's called Linux CNC -features.
There's 2 links, an older one and the newer stuff, and you want the newer stuff.
I got the stuff from GitHub, which seems to be more current.
If you go to our website, the website you created for us, I've got a link to it up there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I go to it's called, it's CNC Club.
Yeah.
Linux CNC-features.
Yeah.
So
Linux CNC.
yeah, so 7 months. That's not. Oh, there's a version 2 now. Ooh.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's like literally two things you need to change in your INI. Oh, well, okay, so you have to import features. So there's a little Python stuff, but it spells it out. It's super easy, and it's so freaking like feature rich. It's so cool.
Yeah, they've done a good job on that. That's pretty cool.
I mean, I installed the parametric CAD thing, but I've used it like maybe twice. But it's kind of neat to know that I could be literally in the garage, and if I need to make a hole in something, I could literally quickly just done, right? Figures out the size. I want you to offset this. I want you to put a 25 millimeter hole. Done. I could do it without even going in the house and touching Fusion.
Yeah. You ever watched any of the? I was telling Tyler. Tyler was telling me about what he's making. I'd watched a couple of weeks ago. I watched this series of videos. I think it was 3 or 4 videos. This guy was making a scope mount for his gun. It was a custom mount, and the gun didn't have a typical kind of mounting system, so you couldn't buy a scope mount for the gun. But he made his own, and it was not CNC. It was all, he had a Bridgeport style mill, and all done by hand using sign plates, and you watch these guys that know how to use this stuff by hand, and I'm convinced that if I ever had a job shop like NYC CNC, it would be very beneficial to have a guy on staff that knew how to use a mill manually really well like that, because I think there's times like, if you're getting a job that's for 10 or 20 parts, yeah, it makes sense to maybe CNC some of that, but you get somebody that comes in and I need this, just one.
It's funny. Earlier today, I was watching A-Bomb. Was it A-Bomb 67 or something like that? And he was manually making this like part for a hydraulic something, and he made it from scratch, like beginning to end. No CNCs, no fancy stuff. I don't even think he had a DRO. I mean, he had, obviously the machines have a scale measurement, but it's not like he had a digital like readout of any kind. And he made the part. And you go through this whole little trek of watching him making this part. It's like, wow. It's like, granted, I know a lot about CNC stuff, and I could probably make something, do the CAD and the CAM and all that stuff, but that's impressive to watch. That's beyond my skill set.
So Tom's Techniques on YouTube. Yeah, it's a pretty cool site. Making scope rings for the Browning A Bolt 3.
YouTube channels. ClickSpring hasn't released anything in a long time.
He hasn't. I think what he's doing, at least it seems like it, is it seems like he's doing more. When he does them, he releases like 3 at a time.
Yeah, but it's so calming to watch. It's ridiculous.
I know, right? It's therapeutic.
It's like, I don't know what he does for a living, but it must be some sort of videography, because all of it is super crisp. He does smooth follow-throughs. He has a slider, and he does all this depth of field stuff.
And he, this machining stuff is all new to him within the last couple of years. And I think the video stuff was new too. It just came because of the channel.
Wow.
But yeah, I could watch him.
Like the bluing thing, where he made that brass screw turn blue. I didn't even know you could do that.
That's pretty odd, isn't it?
Like that. Wait, no dyes, no nothing. It's just a
temperature thing.
So it's just like, I didn't know that. And he has a little tiny shoreline lathe too. It's not even like a crazy, fancy
Yeah, that's the one he started out with. It's hard to get that stuff in Australia, and I think he's had problems. So the big one that he uses, I think, is the same one from like My Little Machine Shop or something. I can't remember which one it is. That's whatever lathe he's
maximizing the use out of that thing.
He is, yeah. That clock he's making is just breathtaking.
I mean, even watching him lap something is like, wow, that's cool. And that's like the most boring thing ever, to lap. Because I used to lap heat sinks back in the day.
Yeah, or the tops of CPUs.
Yeah. And he just makes it so exciting. He's
Well,
doing
he's
good
got
things
this
over
pattern. It's like a figure-8 pattern, right? And there's a
Yeah.
name for that, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
there. Most impressive.
I was watching a video, and I was just, yeah, here it is. I'll put this in our group chat for those that want to partake in a little of droolage. This is a guy that works on classic Omega watches. And that's something else that I can watch is, guys, just the work that goes into working on these things. You know, the watch he's working on is a Speedmaster, Omega Speedmaster, $3,000 watch. And he just, yeah, this is another video that you watch it when you've got some spare time and nobody bugging you. It's wonderful to watch. He's so good at it. I don't know how you get anything like that back together. I mean, literally every screw, nut, bolt, spring, washer, everything comes out of that washer, goes in these little buckets, gets cleaned, gets put back together. It's like, whew, no way. But I'll watch you do it all day long. Yeah.
Mr. Tyler, did you get your mic fixed or? Nope.
Maybe his computer died. No.
No, he's still in there.
Yeah, you'll have to look at Tom's techniques. I found out about him through NYC CNC. He was talking about other sites. We did that video conference thing that one night, and he had mentioned Tom's techniques.
Yeah, big things are happening over there, huh? He's getting his new...
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to go to one of his classes.
Where is he? Colorado?
No, you got me.
It's not NY. It's not New York City.
It's Saunders Machine Works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is in
Ohio.
Ohio. Yep. Yep. Zanesville.
Well, it's not too far. That's a couple-hour drive for me.
Yeah. Just outside of Columbus. In between Columbus and Pittsburgh. A little closer to Columbus. Yeah, it's got a nice shop, no doubt about it.
That's massive. See, I don't need anything like that. But,
well, need has nothing to do with it, but
oh, I know. Because now he has two 440s and two 1100s, the slant 15. He's getting another plasma cutter, a bigger one. He still has the Bridgeport and a very big machine shop.
What's funny is he's not doing any of the day-to-day machining.
Yeah, his other guy does it.
So I don't know if he's just, he's doing all the online stuff and all the fun stuff, I guess. Maybe. It's awesome if you can do it.
You know what's funny, too, is I've noticed in the beginning of this year, a lot of the channels I watch, like all the CNC and mechanical stuff, they try to do like a video a day. I don't know where that came from, because NYCNC used to be like a couple times a week, and now it's almost every week, every day. Grinsmo Knives, same thing. It's like every day. Tactical Chi Chains, he kind of slowed down, but it's coming back. I don't know. It seems like everybody's like doing a video a day. I'm sure ad revenue, I guess.
It's a lot of work. I mean, I guess if you can do it without having to go through editing, then it's fine. But the minute you have to bring that video into the computer and start editing it, it's what that's like.
Yeah. But
it's a lot of work.
I don't know.
He does a lot of videos. John does a lot of videos on his Patreon channel. He'll do
more so than the YouTube channel.
No, but he does more intimate things on his Patreon channel. Like he'll be in the shop doing something at this second, and he'll like do a video. Like You guys just thought I thought all my Patreon fans would like to see, kind of what I'm doing right now, and so he'll do stuff like that. And that's kind of cool because then you can kind of see like, oh wow, that's he's doing something right then and there. You can kind of see how he's doing it, and that's kind of cool. And I don't mind giving him $5 a month. I've learned more than that from him. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like his logo too. I wonder who designed that for him. Pretty simple. It's very old school.
I mean, the Saunders Machine Works?
Yeah, it's simple, but you see the old.
Every time I see it, I think of the Freightline logo.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Wouldn't surprise me if he did it. He's one of those,
Once it's been seen, it cannot be unseen. But yeah, I mean, it's a simple. It's funny too because I didn't realize in the very beginning. I didn't know he was such a big gun guy, which I don't care. I just didn't think,
Well, that's cool, especially where he lives. There's going to be a big demand for that kind of stuff. His gun channel, I don't think, has done a lot. He broke that off.
Oh, the one that was doing Hummer stuff.
Yeah, his other partner in that channel has done a video or two, but nothing like what they've done with NYC CNC. But it's a tough thing to grow. It's organic, and it's not something you can just plant a seed and add water and hope the plant and have a plant. It's there's a lot. I don't think there's an instant recipe for success. Even if you've got one channel that's very successful, I think it's still hard to break that out into something else.
Hey, does this work?
It does.
Yeah. All right. I was there for a while. It just the mic wasn't working, I guess.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. No, I don't know. As long as it works now.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about before he crapped out?
Motors.
Oh yeah, steppers. They're not that expensive. Here, I sent you a link of the ridiculous one, but let me bring that down to earth.
Well, I've looked all over their site. It was just I didn't want to. I mean, once I have to order, 3 motors?
3.
Well, the Z is fine.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have ball screw, type stuff, just so it is, always rigid, and you do get a little bit of torque addition to it.
Well, ball screw or lead screws?
I don't know. I guess anything that's not belt.
Okay, yeah. So this is what I ordered here.
Because
11. Good.
Well, so I think the other issue kind of with it is the smallest you can get the gear for the motor is pretty large in my opinion. So you really have to do a ton of micro stepping and other stuff just to get it decently accurate. So that's why I kind of would like to have some form of gear reduction so that it could, so you could actually kind of just step it normally and still have the same resolution.
Well, there's 2 ways you could do it. You can get NEMA steppers with the planetary gears built in, or you could do a belt reduction, where basically it's a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, but you're just doing it between 2 pulleys and a small closed loop belt between them.
Okay.
That's a cheaper solution. It's just a matter of getting a pulley that matches whatever the screw is and matches whatever the flange of the stepper, which either is 10 millimeters or a 1/4 inch, 6.35 millimeters.
It's also a much more accurate way to do it. A lot less backlash with the belts than you will ever have with the gear. Oh yeah. I mean, unless you want to spend a lot of money on a planetary, but the default ones that most of these companies sell with these. I've got a couple of the gearboxes mount on the steppers, and there's a fair amount of backlash on them. I mean, you can twist it and feel the backlash. The 2 that I have, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bought them at that same surplus place, but.
Okay, so Tyler, in the main chat, I just dumped a link there. So that's where I got the Acme screw I'm going to use for my friend's CNC that I'm building. It's 1,500 millimeters. So it's a 10 millimeter Acme screw, and it's $11 for 8 feet or 8 inches.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could 39 inches. You have a 500 millimeter, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's not terrible. So we're talking like 20 inches. So if you got a 28 inch, so basically it's $26 for, but you would need that times 3. But then you would have to figure out where to mount that, and there's going to be a little bit of engineering involved. Or the simpler solution, I know it involves belts, and that's what you wanted to avoid, but you can go with T5 belts or thicker GT3 belts. And really, the only thing that would change is obviously the pulley that goes around the stepper, which would be wider. And then you could just adapt the existing pulleys that are on the X-Carb. So what I did is I took the Delrin part off. I basically used a large washer on the inner side, put 3 bearings inside, and then put a washer in the other end to accommodate for the width of the belt. And that's a simple, there's no crazy retrofit involved. Obviously, now you're going to have to change how the belts clamp on the end, because I guess they have, what is it? It looks like a belt thing, and it's being torqued or pulled on the end of the gantry, I think.
Yeah.
It's like an L bracket with a screw going through it.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to make something to accommodate the wider belt. But it's 15 millimeters wide, and it's like 3 or 4 times the thickness of the GT2s. And I got that from Light Object, and that's like crazy cheap. Let me find the belts.
Well, that's kind of what I knew the belt would be nice, but other than the one belt that broke, I haven't had too many issues. I just could definitely tell, just setting up the machine, you can, when it's moving, you can kind of put a little resistance on it. You can sometimes feel it when it's doing the micro steps, and it gets, if you get just enough back pressure on it, and then it's at the right step, it'll kind of like fall to the next, like.
Yep, that's exactly
step.
what I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what was happening today. It seemed like is it would slowly just kind of like fall over a little bit, and then slowly after, the thing I was running, it was like 2 hours of runtime. So slowly after about a half hour, it was off, just from it slowly losing steps. So that's where I would love to do some type of screw, just because you get, a little bit of reduction. And then you can't really like push back on it from the.
Well, if you get an
side.
anti-backlash nut, then you're okay, because it basically loads. So, and then, see, the trick to that, and I know you realize this, in order for you to use lead screws, that's a complete redesign.
Right. What I'm kind of hoping is I could maybe get on the machine at my work, and if I can kind of get in there to use it, maybe, be easy enough to design an end plate that I, could easily just cut a hole in it, put a bearing in it, and then stick the thread through there.
Yeah, you would have to get a flanged bearing.
Yeah.
And then you would have to put some sort of preload on one of the sides. The side, obviously, that's not flanged. What's funny is the Shikoku 2, they press fit them in. There was no preload. You just basically, you're using the powder coat as a friction fit.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
And it just goes in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and it wouldn't be that hard to do. It's just accurately machining steel at a reasonable price seems to kind of be my wall at this point.
Aluminum is not good enough for you?
Well, I'm like if I want the nice end plate. Well, no, it works, but I was thinking if I'm going to do a lead screw thing, I'm going to redo all the pieces in steel probably. One thought that I had too was if I can get on the machine at work, how easy would it be to just get a piece of steel and literally just rip like a track down it, and now you have a new gantry that doesn't bend like this one does.
Well, the problem with that is weight.
Everything has a price.
Right.
So
more torque to move it, more
yeah, I mean,
bigger
because
stepper motors.
yeah. So here's the deal, right? So you make this epically awesome gantry that won't flex, but then when you get the gear reduction to increase the torque to move the gantry, then your rapids go completely out of the window.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as rapids at that point.
Take you 10 minutes to get from one into the other.
Well,
True.
yeah, but I mean, if you're just looking for rigidity and you don't care about that, because that's kind of the avenue I'm going, because basically the lead screws I'm using plus the 2-to-1 ratio, I can go ahead and kiss rapids goodbye. They're not going to be as fast as they are now. But what I'm looking for is accuracy, not necessarily rigidity, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
And
pick your
nothing
poison.
that I really cut, or nothing's really, a project isn't really that I've worked on, completely like, oh, this has to be done really quick, I mean, I have time to just kind of let it go, and that's. But I mean, I understand if I'm gonna start bumping stuff up, then I'm gonna have to start buying a lot of other stuff, and yeah, I mean, obviously I don't have money for that, so it was just kind of a dream.
Well, I mean,
yeah, it's worthy.
Honestly, the first route I would go is the belts. I know, and it's the cheapest because the GT2 belts are kind of a joke. They are. They're thin. They're 6 millimeters wide. Yeah, you can get them Kevlar reinforced, but my issue is that they were stretching. So
yeah, I've had that. Although I think it seemed like once I literally put them on, tightened them down, and then just took the machine and ran it, in big circles, like flat out, and just stretched the heck out of them. And then once I retightened them, it seems to have not really moved since then.
yeah, I feel your pain though.
Like I literally just took the machine, like ramped it up to like 600 inches a minute, which it probably wasn't even going that fast. It probably just couldn't go any faster, and just spinning it around until it seemed to not be loose anymore, or until it was loose and then tightened it.
Yeah, the max. Well, I do everything in millimeters per minute, but yeah, there's a max rate that's in Gerbil, so you can give it some ridiculous number and it won't pass whatever's in the configuration.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're using Linux CNC.
Yeah.
Oh. So, huh.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
No,
Yeah,
it
because
was
I inadvertently had my
route at the time.
What's that?
It was the easiest route to start building the machine with.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
that
so.
the board was, however much, and then I had most of the computer parts, so it was a cheaper route, and it actually seems to be pretty decent way to go.
Yes. But what I was going to say is I accidentally had my feed rate override set to like 300% or something like that. I don't know how that happened. I started a job, and it literally, like, imagine an NHRA race, and then it went from, whatever to green, and it just literally lunged across the other side. I was like, holy shit. I'm grabbing the pendant and bring it down.
Yeah, I actually bolted the machine to the table because it was moving around sometimes.
I did that for stability reasons, and also I had some mid-span plates that are also bolted to the table too, which helped a ton.
I mean, the whole machine seems, honestly, for what it was designed for, and I hear people complain about it, but it does what it was designed for just fine.
Oh, absolutely.
And I have no issues with the Y rails. It's just with all the weight of the spindle up there, it just there's enough flex that stuff gets off a little bit, and then just kind of that direct drive with the belt. You can only put so much torque on the belt with the size of the smallest gear you can get. So I wish there was just a really easy way to get it reduced, even maybe twice, just so you have a little more torque.
You can do that. You can do that, but that's a plate redesign.
Yeah. And again, that's just, stuff that I don't really
Oh,
have time to do.
so
Or
wait,
money.
you have access to the Fusion folder, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in there, I do have my T5 model with the belt reduction in there. You can take a look at that to get an idea. You can do it, but you have to remake the plates.
Okay. And that's kind of like, if I could have easy access to a machine that could do, something accurately, whether it is aluminum or steel, it would make life a lot easier, but shop rates are kind of expensive.
Well, you'll get there, Tyler. I guess what I would discourage you from is, you know, destroying this machine to make it into something that it's not really. I mean, first off, with MakerSlide, I think, I don't know, Eric, I guess, went and added, he did his whole thing, but oh, that's weird. Mine completely cut out. But maybe think about what you want in the next machine and either design one or, God, there's so many commercial machines out there now that are built, with everything you want for $3,000 that,
Or less.
or less, yeah. I mean, it's fun to do it yourself, but at some point too, it becomes easier to just buy something and
Yeah, and that's probably what I'll end up doing. I mean, this one works fine. I just have to, if I'm doing aluminum, I just have to slow it down a little bit.
well, also remember you have X end plates and Y end plates coming, quarter-inch aluminum end plates that are going to be much beefier, and the X-axis end plates are designed. You might need. Do you have any more? Well, you might need, because of how you did the belts on those end plates. You might need a little longer belt, huh?
I have extra belts.
Do you? Okay. You'll get these whenever they get done, but you might also think about doing that GT3 belt upgrade at that point. If you can swing it financially, it's not super expensive. You would need the belt plus some pulleys, for the motors, and then Eve's found a way that you can use the existing pulleys with. No, how are you doing these with
Yeah, that's
some?
what I was explaining before. So
Yeah.
basically, you take the Delrin pulley off completely, and you use a large washer on the inner side. In my case, it was 3 bearings, 3 608ZZs, and then another washer on the other end.
Can you take a picture of that? Just that part? Maybe not now.
Yeah, the bearings are in the house. Yeah,
Oh.
but actually, I made a CAD model. I think. Remember, I showed it to you.
That's right. Yeah. I'll pull it. Yeah.
Let me go in our history, and then I'll pull it. But yeah.
Yeah. We've got so much stuff in there. I always forget about what we have.
No, I know, but it's a cheap solution, and
it
works fine.
You might spend, I don't know, you might spend $60-$70, maybe. I don't even think that much.
Oh, I found it. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, and that's probably the route that I'll go, and then I'll just have to down the road make something to do aluminum a little bit quicker. But
see, that's the whole reason why I'm building the current machine I'm building now.
yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with it, but when people live literally on the other side of the wall from this thing that's just screaming, I try to keep the stuff a little bit shorter. But
but if it's during the day, what the hell?
Well, and I mean, like today, that's what I was doing. I only had it running for like 3 hours straight.
Yeah.
I guess I'm lucky in that aspect. Although my machine's not that loud outside the garage, but I don't have any neighbor issues.
Yeah, like it's not too bad if I get out of the garage, but if literally right above the machine is somebody's living room.
Oh, okay.
So after, an hour or two of it just running, it probably just kind of gets a little annoying.
Yeah, but didn't you enclose it or something?
Yeah, that brought the noise down a little more manageable, but it's still loud as can be. I even put foam over it, which actually reduced the noise even more. But when you're running that 611 flat out on aluminum, it's a little noisy.
Yeah, that's a noisy bitch.
Yes, it is. And it's actually kind of interesting when you're cutting aluminum, and as soon as you go into a deeper cut, you can just see the sparks flying in the motor.
What?
Like when it's actually under power,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can just
yeah, yeah.
see it just going berserk. Kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
And it
it's
makes
yeah.
more noise then.
See, I don't know why they don't have a brushless, but they're all.
Yeah, there's so many things they could do better on this. They sell brushless drills and everything like that, but no brushless router.
Oh, their brushless drills are awesome. I have one.
Yep, a brushless drill with external PID control, a brushless router with external PID control would
Yeah.
be a CNC dream.
Yep. I'm sure they're getting there. I think it's, how much do they want to put into designing it? Not that it's that hard, but there is a lot more that goes into a brushless than just a crappy
Oh,
DC
absolutely.
motor.
But there's a whole nother market for them that they're
Yeah.
completely missing. I'd be, you could do that and then work with like shop bots out there, all these companies selling CNC routers and say, guess what we got?
Oh, yeah. It's just gonna need one company to make something.
Yep.
And that's will hold up, and they'll take the market.
The other thing I think that would help, like in your situation, Tyler, too, would be something equivalent to the super PID. I think you could do the super PID inside that thing, but it'd be tight. It doesn't need a lot. You have an optical sensor that you have to put in there, and that's the biggest thing, I think. And in your case, you'd have to disable any PID, internal PID that it has in there. But having speed control, like with the super PID on Eve's router, you can take that thing. What'd you say, 5,000 RPMs?
Lowest on the low end,
Yeah.
4,200 and something.
Yeah, and
But the problem is the cooling is reflective on RPM.
Yep.
So I noticed that after I ran it for the 2 minutes I left it at that speed, it ran, but the chassis was really hot. So I'm gonna have to do some sort of additional cooling that's not dependent on whatever the shaft is spinning at.
Yeah, I see that you modeled the top for that router.
Yeah.
If it was a way a guy could 3D print one of those with all the supports you needed inside, that would be the way to go, and then build it tall enough to put a fan in there.
Yeah, I got lazy. All I cared about was the exterior. I didn't really model the inside of it. I mean, I should now because putting the super PID in, and you saw what I had to do to put the sensor in there. I had to make a PCB.
Oh no, I guess I didn't notice that you did a PCB.
Yeah, I sent you. Okay. Is it on my phone? Yeah, I have it on my phone.
It's probably in my list.
No, I'll repost it. Yeah, I had to do a PCB because the way the 618 is, the bearing is captured by the top of the cap. So, and then also where the knob and the power switch in for the internal PID stuff, it was potted inside this like little tiny section. So there was really no clear spot for me to put the RPM sensor. In the instructions, they just say find some sort of post and hot glue it. I tried that, and it was really wobbly, right? And then the RPMs was not accurate because obviously the sensor's moving around. So I ended up making a PCB to fit where the soft start PID was, and it lines up perfectly with the rotor, the bearing and the rotor, and it reads perfectly. No stray, no nothing. Let me see if I can find that picture. But yeah, I'm digging the super PID. It works really good. It actually revs higher than the spec of the router. I'm sure that's not good for long periods of time.
Yeah, probably not.
Because it gets up to almost 30,000 RPMs, and on the box it says 16,000 to 24,000. I mean, there's no reason to go 30,000 RPMs, but.
Well, yeah, because you'd need a feed rate that would be crazy with something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'll hover in the 8,000 to 20,000, I guess. I guess if I'm doing acrylic and I want to mow through it really quick. But otherwise, I'm more.
I just saw the PCB with a big chunk of plexi.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, that was the only way I can get it to like sit still in there.
Yeah, that works though. That sounds like a kit you could sell.
I don't want to do that again. That was a pain in the ass. And then okay, so I see the picture you're looking at, and that diode that's sticking up is the temp sensor. Temp sensor.
Oh, that's one of the three terminal Dallas temperature
Yeah,
sensor
which
things.
I had to ask him, and he was kind of like, "Oh, you could use any one," and I had to go through the manual, and I had to look at a bunch of pictures, and I found a picture that was high enough res that I can look at the side of the IC, and then I was able to pull the part number from it. But yeah, I mean, I like the Super PID. I just don't understand the cost. But I ended up getting one, and it was worth it.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it, it's like the VFD, but without getting a VFD, really. Although VFDs are not closed loop, and this is closed loop, so.
Yeah. If they could just solve the cooling issue.
Cooling issue.
Running them at slow speeds.
Yeah, if you look at YouTube, there's tons of guys that have these huge squirrel cage blowers blowing down into the router. I don't think I'm going to do anything that elaborate. I'll just probably get like a 120 millimeter fan, and then what I'll do is I'll have maybe a regulator or some sort of thing that I could send a PWM pulse to. So when good.
What if you made just a cover that would slip over the top of the current plexi cover that had a fan mount on top? You know, so it would just slip over like, you know, tightly fit.
Yeah. Well, I was going to do something with the dust collection system, where you just pass some of the suction directly through the fan.
Yeah. Just suck the air right through it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Force
that works.
reduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other solution I was thinking was basically put a 120 millimeter fan on the top, and then basically, I don't know, some sort of dumb IC that I could make Linux CNC do PWM to it, so in the post-processor, when I know the RPM is going to be at a certain rate, and then I'll just turn the fan on, and if it's going to be high enough, I won't even bother with it. But that's kind of like all hypothetical, and I don't even know if I need to worry about that.
You know what would be interesting to do though is to put one of those Dallas temperature sensors on the outside of that router, and just, you know, maybe for a month or so monitor the temp of it and see what it does.
Well, there's a temp sensor in it. Oh, it doesn't report the temps to Linux CNC at all. It only reports to RPM.
Yeah, and so it would be cool to be able to get that data, you know.
Yeah.
You could actually have another little graph inside Linux CNC just graphing that temp.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool. And that's something where heat is of concern, because the heat on those bearings is horrible.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I'm getting pretty far. I have everything on it right now. I have one of the end stops mounted. I mocked up the stepper. I need to cut out that plate for the Mitsumi extrusions, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. I'm going to not be happy when I stick an aluminum plate underneath it and it just skids across the top of it. It's like, God damn it. Complete waste of time.
I always have a backer board.
I
always have a backer board. You're talking on the Mitsumi?
No. I'm talking about overall performance of the machine.
Oh, yeah.
I think what I'm going to do differently with this machine is I'm going to home bottom versus homing top, and then hopefully work my way that way to avoid damaging that beautiful Mitsumi.
You know, in theory, it shouldn't matter either way. I mean, if your dimensions are accurate, why does it matter?
And plus it's metal too, so it should be consistent all the way through versus wood. Yeah. It's funny, I've planed stuff down and measure it, and because the wood has sat there in the garage for like a day or two, a section of it swells, and it's like, God damn it.
It would be handy if Linux CNC had a leveling feature, so you could go through and, like, for 3 hours have it, you know, map your board out, your
you can.
plate. and then just have it keep that data.
Oh.
So that it, for like whatever, a couple of weeks it would just reference that data until you redid it again.
Okay, that I don't know. But there is a script, there is a Ruby script that does do leveling for Linux CNC. And then you could tell it the grid size, and it'll go and probe.
Huh.
It's used for milling PCBs and such.
Yeah, you're right. I have seen that. Yeah, it'd be cool if it was integrated, so it could go through.
I think whatever G code gets executed after that is what that sticks with. I don't think it retains.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But I mean, I've never had to run it. I mean, usually with wood stuff, it's okay, but with the metal stuff, plus it's a completely different machine. So I don't know. I mean, I'll find that out shortly because the very first thing that this thing's gonna be cutting out is a plate for itself, which is kind of funny.
I might flip a PCB by you and an Eagle board and have you double check it for me. It's super simple, but just a little LED display board. Well, 7-segment display board.
Oh, I love 7 seconds.
The serial ones using a Max chip to drive it. I'm trying to do it where, it's not this display. It's a 5-digit display, but they kind of look like that. But I'm trying to do it much like this, where the display's on top and the chip's on the bottom.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that in it. So the way it looks like is you just mirror the chip, and it looks like when you do that, it automatically knows that you're going to put it on the bottom layer.
Yeah.
So I think it's right, but
well, as long as everything's blue, you're good.
Yeah. Yep. The new auto router, I don't know what version of Eagle you're using, but the new auto router is pretty cool. It supports multi-core, so you got 12 cores, it'll use all 12.
I think I have version 6.5.
Oh god, what am I?
Probably 7 point something.
Yeah, 7.2 I think is what I'm running. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's much more. I actually had to watch a video to figure out. I like to use the auto router to kind of see what it's doing, and then I modify routes. And I had to actually watch a video to figure out how to use it because I was like, oh, this is strange. But so what it'll do is it'll give you like 12 different routes. It'll use each one of your cores for a thread. And it'll give you 12 different options to pick from, and then there's one called the top route, which I don't quite understand. And then you can look at each one, and it'll show you on the other side what that auto route job looks like, and then you can pick the one you want. It gives you, if it was 100% complete or if there was 98 and just a few, and you can pick whatever one you want. It's kind of cool.
It's funny. One time I did an auto route on something because I was lazy, and it had like 20 something vias. It's like, god damn it.
Yeah. Well, the auto routers, I mean, are pretty powerful. It's even more so now, but you can go in and put weights on that stuff, so you can say, ease up on the vias, please. Yeah. Tony's gone.
Yeah, it's a light call.
No Andrew tonight.
He said something. Or I thought he said something earlier today. It's funny. I notice anytime I start posting stuff, that's when everybody disappears.
When you start posting stuff?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. I don't know.
What? Yeah. Well, whatever.
I posted that Canadian candidacy.
Yeah, my wife. Apparently, somebody put that on Facebook. And she sent me that link earlier today, and that was hilarious.
God, I laughed. Can I write him in? I had to unfriend somebody on Facebook today. I don't do that a lot because I'm pretty tolerant, but this guy keeps posting. I don't care if you like Obama or not, whatever, But he's just posting stuff,
Was it your nephew?
No, it wasn't my nephew. It was like Kelly, I can't remember his last name. He's from the Hack Factory, but he posted this thing about, how Justice John whatever from the Supreme Court signed an order to arrest Barack Obama for treasonous acts, and I'm like, dude, please just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. You're just wasting your time and everybody else's. I don't care what you like them or not, whatever. But just it's just utter crap. And then you cloud the problem is that you get do you ever watch Smarter Every Day, Eves?
No.
Yes, I do.
So fantastic channel. He just recently interviewed the president. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah.
The one that he did before that, where he talks about, hey, I got to interview the president. He talks about some really cool stuff. Basically, how we're more polarized now. We're farther apart between the left and the right than we've ever been. And he said there's data to prove it. And he talks about how you get people on the left and the right, not wanting to look at anything else other than media from the left or the right, So somebody from the far right only looks at like Fox News, for example. And the problem is it doesn't allow you to come together ever when you do that. And I never thought about that before, but it's pretty fantastic little piece of info. Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy.
Well, I guess I gotta run.
Yeah?
Yeah, the office is also kind of the bedroom, so.
Oh, I suppose
Yeah.
it's too cold to hang out in your garage.
Well, the problem is getting on the call in the garage, and it's not comfortable out there.
Yeah. I kind of sit in our living room, so when I do it, everybody tries to leave.
If I had an office, this wouldn't be so hard, but I'm in this tiny little townhome. So.
Yeah.
Although hopefully we'll get a house soon and get out of here.
Yeah.
We got pre-approved for a mortgage, so.
Oh, did you? That went through?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, it was like okay, looks like you should be able to get one kind of thing, but we need to actually get approved now. So we'll see. It'll be nice. Then once I have my own place, all the problems go away.
Well, no, just new problems arise.
I guess.
Trust me.
But they're better problems.
Yeah, sometimes. And some are.
Yeah. Oh well. This place is, I don't know.
It's still the best. It's still awesome. You'll enjoy it.
I just need a place that I can take a sledgehammer to the wall when I want a hole there, and not have to ask somebody first.
It's still not your ultimate home.
What?
In ground,
Oh, yeah. But see, I first need to acquire a plot of land that has a decoy house on top of it.
Yes.
And then I'll be good to go.